Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. When my sheikh was alive in this world, still in his body, he lived about 70 miles from where I lived. And to get there, we had to drive approximately an hour and a half to see him. And I made this drive on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Sometimes I stayed over on the weekend, and we began it over again the next week. And I was constantly making this trip. Why did we make this trip so often? What was the purpose of this trip? What happened when I got there that was so different than what was going on in my life 70 miles away from him? I'm going to try to describe as best I can what it is being in the presence of a manifestation of Allah's qualities. What happens is that when you are in the presence of the resonance of that manifestation, mercy, compassion, love, kindness, justice, serenity are overflowing. And you can't help but be captured by those qualities. You can't help but be integrated with those qualities. And what happens is that while you are in that presence, all of the normative busyness, self-absorption, the carnival of the world, the glitter of the world disappears, just as the darkness disappears when the sun rises. So that manifestation of God's qualities that existed or exists within human form exists all the time. God's qualities are always here. God's qualities are very close to our normative world, which is the world of illusion. When we enter into those qualities, when we become aware of those qualities, when those qualities overwhelm us and we become engulfed within them, we leave illusion and get a taste of reality. Now, in the beginning, we thought that the only way this could happen was in the presence of a sheikh, in the presence of one who is filled with those qualities. But what we learned over time is Allah exists everywhere. He doesn't just exist in the sheikh. Allah exists within every one of us. Allah exists within everything. Allah is everywhere. And since he is everywhere, He is available to us everywhere. But we are also being bombarded by the carnival that is this world, by the glitters and all of the different scenes and episodes and dramas of the world. And we, in the same way that Allah's qualities can overwhelm us, these worldly encounters can overwhelm us. And we suffer, and we have difficulty, and we worry, and we go through all of the drama that this world gives us. But in the same way that I used to travel to escape from that drama of the world, I used to travel to be in a place where that drama doesn't exist. I eventually discovered that that place where that drama doesn't exist is adjacent to the place where the drama does exist. And if we can move our center from the drama to the glory, then we change our state. And as we change our state, we begin to realize that the drama has no reality to it. If we look at our lives over the span of the years that we've lived, and we reimagine all of the dramas that we've been through, and we reimagine all of the different scenes that we've lived, and we reimagine all of the worry and the suffering that we've gone through because of these dramas. And then we realize that they came to an end and were replaced by another drama, were replaced by another mind desire trauma. We should begin to realize that this is what the world produces within us. And it produces it over and over and over again. And the only escape from this is the ability to go to Allah's qualities and join with Allah's qualities, be overwhelmed by Allah's qualities, and be integrated within Allah's qualities. When we were with the Sheikh, we felt very clearly that we were in a protective zone, in a safe zone, in a zone where nothing can touch us. Within his room, it was as if we were floating in space, separated from the rest of the world. Well, we're all in that place now. We're all in that place where we can be separate from the rest of the world. We just have to create an intention that separates us from the rest of the world. And how do we do that? By giving the world less importance and by giving God's qualities more importance, by giving our love for the world less importance, and by giving our love for God more importance, by understanding the nature of mercy, the nature of love, the nature of Allah's protection, by realizing that Allah is on our side at all times, and He is always protecting us. He is always nourishing us. He is always giving to us. We just have to allow that presence in. And as we allow that presence in, we become more and more like that presence. We become more and more like the qualities that are reality. So here we are. in a struggle between the world of illusion and the world of truth, a struggle between the world that is actually a dream and the world that is reality. Everybody fades from this world. All of our accomplishments become of no importance in this world. You know, I practiced law for a good 35, 40 years. And there came a time when I had hundreds and hundreds of files, and they were sitting in file cabinets and in various places in my office. And I would go back and look at them. I would pull out a file, and there would be 500 pages in it. And I didn't remember any of them. I didn't remember the trauma that was going on. I didn't remember the difficulties that were going on. I didn't remember the situations that were going on. I didn't remember how they were resolved. And they were of no importance anymore. At one time, they were the way I made my living. They were the way income came in. Now, all of a sudden, they had no importance. They were finished. They were dead files. Dead files. And that's with all our memories. They're dead memories. They don't exist anymore. The traumas have disappeared. We've gone through them. The different scenarios have disappeared. We've gone through them. And what happens is, because of the nature of the mind and because of the nature of desire, new ones are constantly popping up. This is what the mind does. It brings new scenes into our lives. It brings new glitters into our lives. It brings new attachments into our lives, and it gives us new things to worry about. Well, all of these things will also disappear. Can we make the connection between the dead files and the files that we're now in trauma about? Can we understand that they're the same thing, just a little bit separate in time? And as soon as that time separates, they're going to become dead files also, that when you look at the pages of those files, there's nothing that you can remember. So we have to understand that everything in this world disappears. All of our thoughts about the world disappear. All of the mind consciousness disappears. The only thing that remains in truth are the qualities that are eternal. And the qualities that are eternal are Allah's qualities. Rahman and Rahim remain. Love remains. Justice remains. Truth remains. God's kingdom remains. The light remains. The soul remains. But the body disappears, just like all of the thoughts disappear. They become of no consequence. We were talking to somebody earlier today, and they were mentioning about being ill, and that when they become ill, the only thing that they are conscious of is becoming healthy. Everything else becomes irrelevant. Well, we should understand that everything else is irrelevant, whether we're ill or whether we're healthy. That doesn't mean that you don't have duties in this world. That doesn't mean there aren't things that you have to take care of. But there's a difference between being attached to those things and making the outcome of those things the most important things in our lives. The outcome of our connection to Allah needs to be the most important thing in our lives. The outcome of our relationship with Allah needs to be the most important thing in our lives. Think about it. People talk about reincarnation. And in truth, every one of these dead files is a reincarnation. It was another life. It was another area of your existence. We go through so many different lives. We go through our child life. We go through our teenage life. We go through our 20s, which is a different life than when we are in our 30s. We are constantly evolving into something else. Now, in truth, if we are evolving appropriately, we are evolving towards becoming godlike. We are evolving from the state of illusion into the state of reality. We are evolving from man into disappearing, into becoming insan Kamil, true man, which is other than ordinary man, in that there is no connection to the self anymore, but the connection is to Allah. So there's no connection to the self, but there's connection to mercy. There's no connection to the self, but there's connection to compassion. There's no connection to the self, but there's a connection to love. And the problem with the world right now, and the problem with nations right now, and the problem within nations right now, is they have lost the understanding that everything revolves around God. And instead, everything revolves around economics. Everything revolves around social policy. Everything revolves around man-made ideas and man-made traumas and man-made controversies that never end. It's a constant need for power over others and for power in government, power in social settings. There's a constant struggle for power. When I was young, was working in a law firm, and I didn't like the people I was working with. And there was constant controversy, and I really got to the point where I couldn't stand them. And I wrote to my sheikh, and he wrote me back, and he said, whenever there's more than one person, there's politics. And this is part of the problem with the world. There's politics, and politics consume people because one needs to have the power over the other. And he said, what you should do is leave the situation that you're in. Just leave. It's better to live in your own rat hole than in somebody else's castle. And this is a difficult concept to understand because we think castles are important, because we hold castles up high as if we've attained something by, look, I finally have a castle. Well, what have you gotten when you have a castle except a lot of upkeep? What have you gotten when you have a castle instead of more headaches? What have you gotten when you become a king except the fact that you can't sleep at night because of all the trauma that you're going through? But the world won't give that up. The world won't let that go. The world refuses to understand that there is a unity of existence among all beings and that we are all children of one mother and father. But instead, there's an enmity among men. There's an enmity among religions. There's an enmity among nationalities. And even within countries, there's an enmity between political parties as opposed to a unity. And until man understands that unity, until man returns to the initial purity that he came into this world with, the kind of trauma that is found in the world is going to go on and on and on. We treat certain things in this world as more important than God. Marxism brought the idea that the most important thing in the world was economics and that God should be put aside entirely. There is no God. There's only economics, and there's only the ability to survive within the economic framework. Imagine what an empty life that is. Imagine how that is a life without the glory of the qualities of Allah. Instead, it's been replaced entirely by what's available in this illusory world and what we can obtain in this illusory world. It's if the wealth of this world was more important than anything else. It's as if the wealth of this world is what you can hold on to. And it's just not true. It's not the way it is. And because we are constantly chasing the wealth of this world, because we are constantly chasing the desires we have in this world, we're unable to become still. We're unable to find repose. We're unable to find serenity. We're unable to find a connection to truth. Truth doesn't change. The world changes. As long as we are involved in the world, things will continuously change, and we will continuously be unable to find peace because there's no place to rest. It's a constant moving situation. It changes on us all the time. As soon as we think we have found tranquility, something comes to upset it and disrupt it and throw it into turmoil again and bring us into another kind of suffering. We need to find a place that's stable. We need to find a place that's consistent. We need to find a place that doesn't constantly move on us, a place that doesn't have earthquakes, a place that doesn't have tsunamis, a place that doesn't have hurricanes, a place that doesn't have thunderstorms, a place that doesn't have snowfall beyond imagination, a place that's calm and tranquil, where we can become calm and tranquil. And what we understand is that place is not outside of ourselves. That place is inside of ourselves. And as long as we are focused on things that are outside of ourselves, we will not find that tranquility. But who talks about the inner existence? Who talks about the inner peace and the inner calmness? Certainly not the politicians in the world. They talk about control. They talk about social justice. They talk about trying to change things within the fabric of the world. They don't talk about human kindness coming from being aligned with Allah's qualities. They don't talk about truth being aligned with Allah's qualities. They talk about different things. Even the religions talk about the strength of the religion, the importance of the religion, the sanctity of the religion, and how this religion is better than that religion. And this brings us back to the same problems again. Competition on which religion is better, competition on which religion should be in control, competition constantly in who should be the most powerful. Well, for us to find truth, we have to find a way to find a place that's grounded. And the best thing for us to do to find this grounded place is to understand the kalima and understand the nature of the kalima. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Only God exists and nothing else exists. The only reality is God. Everything else is illusion. So this means that we have to willingly put ourselves on the forefront to lose our existence. We have to willingly disappear. When Abraham was told to kill his son laid there and said to him, do what God has told you. If God said sacrifice me, then sacrifice me. Well, in truth, each of us has to be sacrificed. Each of us has to disappear. Each of us is going to be lost. But when we are lost, what are we replaced with? We are replaced with truth. So we go from this non-real existence to an existence within reality. We go from this dream state where things are constantly in disarray into the area of truth and justice and mercy and compassion, where everything is eternal, everything is blissful, everything is full of grace, everything is effulgent, because it is Allah. So we go in constant reincarnations until we become Anul-Haq, until we become reality, until we become Rahman, until we become Rahim, until we become Latif, until we become Salam. We must become these qualities. And this is the solution to the world's problems. But the world is too enamored with the world. The world is too enamored with the dramas of the world. The world is too enamored with I, me, mine, with titles and with honorariums. The world is too enamored with having dinners honoring people. The world is too enamored with worldly honors. And it's only when we begin to understand the nature of the world and the nature of truth that man can truly begin to understand his life. So we have to come to know who we are. And how do we come to know who we are? It's said, know yourself and you will know your Lord. The words within that phrase are really the key to understanding yourself. Know yourself and you will know your Lord. Know your soul and you will know your Lord. Know your soul and you will disappear into your soul, and your soul disappears into Allah. This is the key to existence. This is the key to understanding man. This is the key to understanding reality. And when we understand that, then tranquility will come into our life. Then peace will come into our life. Then serenity will come into our life. But as long as we are enamored by the glitters of the world, as long as we are attached to the various magnetisms in this world, as long as we have the arrogance of I, me, and mine, we are not going to find peace. I cannot find peace. Only Allah can be peaceful. Salam is a name of God. Salam is a name of Allah. So to enter into that state, you have to enter into that pure, holy state of the Creator. You have to enter into that state that is God-like. Allah has no possessions. Allah has no mind. Allah has no desire. Allah has no needs. Allah just does his duty. Imagine if you didn't have desire, how much easier it would be to accomplish whatever it is you need to do. We are here as vice regents of Allah. Vice regents of Allah means we are to be doing his work here. How many politicians think they are here to do the work of God? How many politicians understand the work of God? Look at all the wars that are going on in this world right now. And what's the reason for these wars? Religious men are looking for power. Secular men are looking for power. You think there's a difference between religious men and secular men looking for power? They're just power-hungry men. They are without truth. They are without justice. They are without compassion. They don't understand the unity of existence. They want to separate everyone so that they are at the forefront of what's in charge. We need to go in a different direction. We need to go in the direction of understanding the truth. And the key to understanding the truth is La ilaha illallah. So we need to repeat La ilaha illallah over and over and over. We need La ilaha illallah to become the background of our existence. We need it to be internalized within us so that it runs automatically and never ceases. So whatever we're doing, we are also reciting La ilaha illallah. Wherever we are going, we're always saying La ilaha illallah. As we do everything we're supposed to do, we are also reciting La ilaha illallah. And as we do this, then the knowledge that God is constantly with us becomes more and more ingrained in our being, to where soon that is the overriding principle of our existence, that God is, God is, God is, God is. Everywhere we turn, God is. Everything we see, God is. Everything we hear, God is. Every fragrance we imbibe, God is. Every taste that we taste, God is. This is the state that true man goes to. Unfortunately, there are very few true men in this world. So our position isn't necessarily that the world should be changed. Our position has to be that we change. Our position has to be that we become the truth. And the Quran says, if you save one life in this world, you've saved all humanity. So if we can become true men, others can become true men. In the same way that we ran to be at the feet of the one who was manifest as Allah's qualities, people will run to be at your presence so that they can be near the ones who manifest Allah's qualities. This is our work, to become those qualities so that we can be a mercy unto humanity. Each man should be a mercy unto humanity. And as man understands that they came here not as a curse, but as a mercy towards mankind, then this world will begin to change. Mercy can change this world, and mercy is expressed through humanity, through true man. So may it come to pass that each of us is taken on the straight path by Allah to become that true man that we are intended to be, that we become Insan Kamil, the one that is infused with God's qualities and is a representative, a true representative of Allah. Ameen, Ameen, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.